Okay, we'll start out looking at some sandhill cranes here. There's a one with a younger baby on the left. Now, it's extremely difficult to tell the difference between a male and a female. I even looked it up, and what they said is the male tends to keep his head in a vertical position, and the female seems to keep her head in a horizontal position. Well, that's not a heck of a lot of a difference. Then you kind of, I guess that's the mom. You can see her picking at a piece of bread ahead there and letting her little baby have it. I think I'd had some rolls or something in my car, and I just threw out there when I was leaving after filling my feeder. Here you got a nice little male turkey with a long beard on him in there. And you can see the cattle. They're wandering around there. That's what the fencing's for, is keep the cattle away from that feeder. And the young calves, they're kind of curious. They're staring at the turkeys walking around, wondering what's going on. Now here we got a wild boar come in, and he found some old stale cookies I had that I wanted to get rid of. So I just tossed them out there in front of my camera to see if I can get them over close to the camera and get a better look at them. You can see a younger one and a spotted one. Grabbed one there and he was trying to gobble it down. He was having a hard time chewing on it. Must have been pretty stale. I imagine it was pretty dry. And here the camera now is tripped into the infrared uh, position. When the sun goes down, it'll still take photos at night, but it takes them in black and white and infrared. And here we are back the next morning. Now here's, you see that little baby sandhill crane, and wild hogs wandered in there. Now here's in the afternoon. You can see that male turkey's back and the sandhill crane's back. I think it was 5 o'clock. And they're hanging around waiting for that feeder to go off, which should go off around 6 o'clock. Oh, there it goes. And you can hear that turkey gobbling at the noise. And that dove cooed, made the turkey gobble again. There's a nice hog. It's got some nice looking teeth on him. Let me digress here for a minute and explain a little bit on why you hear a lot of stories about wild hog teeth and being so dangerous. Here's about a 150-pound boar that a friend of mine harvested back in 2003. Like the boar you just saw in the previous video, the teeth don't really protrude very far out of the mouth, maybe about an inch or two. And that's because the upper tooth, called the wetter, or some people call them the wipers, rubs against the lower tooth, called the cutter. And that keeps the cutter worn down. Now, for some reason, that upper tooth gets chipped, broken, or misaligned. That lower tooth will then keep right on growing. And that's sometimes when you see them really sticking out of their mouths. And in this photo above, you can see how the ends of those teeth are kind of flattened and they're sharp on the edges. I wouldn't say they're razor sharp, but they do get quite sharp. And when you got a 150-pound hog coming at you, swinging his head, it might as well be a razor. And the teeth really, when you look how far back into the jaw they go, they're actually hollow back in there. And the only portion that you see, and you'll see kind of a dark colored area, has like, I'll say, meat in it, and it's solid. So they continue to keep growing. Now here's the jaws kind of setting back together, and you can see how the two upper and lower teeth match together, and how they keep rubbing at each other and sharpening it. So with that, let's get back to the videos. Here we got some more hogs come in, and so you got a different one now. It's really light colored, and that the darker one on the left seems to be the dominant boar of the area. He antagonizes everyone, and it's interesting. He'll make a lunge at him, chase him off, and then grab back, and they'll walk right back in there. So I guess that's kind of showing the pecking order of who's boss. And you can see the cows sitting there watching all the activity. Now here you can see the black one there on the outside of the fence. He's after one. He's mad at for some reason, chasing it up. Either that, or that could be a sow in heat maybe, and he's after her. Here's one of the pigs come over and decided to rub on my fence post where my camera was on. And I have no idea what the hell that sound was. There, one of the sandhill cranes chased the turkey off. Now, based on the description I looked up, the sandhill crane with the head straight up, that must have been the male. Well, they didn't like that hog coming in there. And those cranes, they make a god-awful noise when they're flying. They're really loud. We got a lot of visitors in here right now. 7 o'clock at night. There's that that turkey gobbled again. There he is. He's strutting around, puffed up. He's trying to get one of those hens interested. Here the pigs wandered off. And that was the feeder that just went off. And boy, it's like ringing a dinner bell. And here's an ugly old male turkey. Stick your head up. Yeah, there you go. Now this one, you notice a little black sow come in there. She's got 5 little piglets with her. And that's the first time I've seen her show up. And I can't imagine those piglets are more than a week or 2 old. And then they got that boar, he's sniffing there. That sow's in trouble. And there you can see the sow's nursing the little baby one time. There we got sandhill cranes and turkeys. And pigs. And little pigs. You can kind of just hear the pigs grunting a little bit. Now in the next set of videos I'd come in and I'd mowed all this grass so you'll be able to see them a lot better. There's a raccoon up there trying to steal some corn out of that feeder. Now this second clip took place basically over a 24-hour period. Or series of clips, I should say. There you can see the grass was mowed. And I'd found some, about a couple of dozen jars of old canning stuff somebody had left behind. Been sitting on their porch for 7 or 8 years. And it was canned fish or pickles and pickled onions. I thought it was going to smell bad. I dumped it out. It just smelled like vinegar. So I just dumped it all out on the ground. I was going to throw it in the garbage. And I had a little bag of Tostitas or something like that, a little Ziploc bag, and they're stale. I just dumped them out there. So the birds are in there pecking at that. But you'll see the hogs had a field day with all that pickled stuff. And I come back the next day, and it was like a vacuum cleaner hit the ground. You couldn't see a trace of it anywhere. Here you can notice up there in that shooting lane coming in, you can see that dark spot as the turkey's running in. That must be the male sandhill crane again. There's a turkey back there in the field. He's headed this way. It looks like they made it in. Now here's that hog. That's what he's eating right now. In that batch of stuff I found, there was a jar of preserved figs or something like that. And that's what he was eating. He's finding all those big chunks of fish. That's one thing about the hogs. It's easier to make a list of things they won't eat than a list of things that they will eat. hear him chomping on stuff. There he kind of chase after that turkey. He's over there looking. They seem to know when that feeder turns on and off. And I think it had, when you saw him running off, it must have just turned on. It'll spook him for a second, and then they'll run right back in there like it's ringing a dinner bell. There's that old gobbler back there in the pasture, trying to get those hens to come out there with him. That's a dove that you're hearing there, kind of cooing. And here comes another group in there. Looks like a mama with 3 or 4 little ones. Well, they're not little. They're probably in the, I would say maybe 50-pound range. You can see the little curly tails. Yeah, they don't want much to do with that big old boar. If I was to guess his size, I would be guessing probably in the 150-pound range. That little boar there on the left, a lighter color one, that's down around 100, 105 pound. Yeah, he's chasing that little one around. And rule of thumb is when you harvest a hog, you get about 25% of their live weight once you've made your sausage, cube steaks, and things like that. So out of a 100-pound hog, you're going to get 25 pounds of meat to put in your freezer. A large amount of the weight is in the head and in the hide alone. Extremely heavy. Here comes the mama with her little piglets again. That would be about the typical size litter. She's got 5. Usually I'll see 4. You hear stories of seeing a sow with 8 or 10 little piglets. That's usually because some other sow has been disposed of, or these piglets will follow another one around that's providing milk for them, because any sow will nurse other little piglets. So out in the wild, it's usually a litter of 4. They don't really have those big litters of 8, 9, and 10 that you hear about sometimes. And here we are, just at dusk, and cameras turned back to black and white for the infrared. See, those little ones are constantly getting ornery. The little one's constantly chasing the sow around to nurse on her. He's come back rubbing on it. I guess 2 of them want to rub on that post. Now this is in the morning, 8 o'clock. You see the belly, he's been laying in some mud somewhere. But to read, the wild hogs can't sweat. So to stay cool, they'll go and wallow in the mud and stuff. And you can see they come in all colors and all sizes. Well, this is the last clip. Hope you found it interesting. Give me a like if you did, and thumbs up, and please subscribe if you can. Thank you.